The air in Moscow always felt like it carried the weight of history, a heavy blanket of forgotten grandeur and unspoken fears. For Anya, it felt like the weight of her own past, pulling her down even as she tried to climb. She wasn't born into the gilded cages of the new rich, nor the crumbling concrete blocks of the working class. Anya was born into the cracks, the spaces where legality blurred, and survival was a daily heist. Her father, a gruff man with hands like a bricklayer, and eyes that saw too much, taught her early. In this city, Anya, you either take or you get taken. He was a small-time fence, dealing in stolen watches and smuggled electronics. A ghost of the old black market, adapting to the wild capitalism of the 90s. Anya, sharp and quick-witted, became his shadow, learning the art of observation, the whisper of a deal, the quick glance that revealed a threat. But Anya craved more than just survival. She saw the glittering lights of the luxury stores on Tverskaya Street, the sleek cars, the women with their expensive furs and indifferent smiles. She wanted a taste of that world, not to be a spectator from the shadows. Her chance came in the form of Roman, a man whose ambition burned hotter than any vodka. Roman wasn't just a fence. He was a rising star in a burgeoning criminal empire, charismatic and ruthless. He saw the fire in Anya's eyes, the cold calculation beneath her quiet demeanor. He offered her a place, not as a girlfriend, but as an equal, a mind for their operations. Their first big score was audacious, a diamond heist from a high-security jewelry store. Anya meticulously planned the entry and exit, studying blueprints, identifying blind spots and surveillance. Roman, with his network of muscle, handled the execution. It was flawless. The diamonds vanished, leaving only confused police and headlines, screaming of a new, bold criminal outfit. Anya felt a thrill she'd never known. This wasn't just survival. This was power. She became Roman's confidant, his strategist, his dark queen. They moved through the opulent underworld of Moscow, their reputation growing with each successful job. They lived large, in a penthouse overlooking the Moscow River, sipping champagne, their hands still stained with the invisible grime of their work. Anya had her furs, her designer clothes, her indifferent smile, but deep down, the chill of her past never quite left her. Their empire, like many built on shifting sands, eventually began to crack. The old guard, the Vori Vizakin, didn't appreciate the new, brash players like Roman. A rival faction, led by a brutal old-school gangster named the Bear, began to squeeze their operations. Warnings came, subtle at first, a broken window, a slashed tire. Then, more direct, a beat down of one of their men, a whispered threat on a burner phone. Roman, usually so composed, grew agitated. He started making reckless decisions, his ambition turning to desperation. Anya urged caution, suggesting they lay low, consolidate. But he wouldn't listen. He saw it as a challenge, an insult to be answered with overwhelming force. Their final job was supposed to be the one that solidified their dominance, hijacking a massive shipment of smuggled electronics, worth millions, destined for the Bears' network. Anya had a bad feeling, a gnawing dread that whispered of a trap. But Roman, blinded by rage and pride, dismissed her fears. You're getting soft, Anya? This is war. The night of the heist was a cold, unforgiving Moscow night, the kind that promised snow, but delivered only biting wind. They moved in, a convoy of black vans, their faces grim. The rendezvous point was an abandoned warehouse district on the city's outskirts, a place that fell forgotten by time. As their men moved to secure the cargo, the trap sprung, sirens wailed, piercing the night. Not just police, but the heavy vehicles of the Bears' enforcers, converging from all sides. It was a massacre. Gunfire erupted, echoing off the concrete walls. Anya, caught in the crossfire, saw her carefully, constricted world collapse in a hail of bullets. She saw Roman, fighting like a cornered animal, but overwhelmed. His eyes, in their last shared glance, held a flicker of regret, maybe even an apology, before he fell, cut down by a burst of automatic fire. Anya herself was wounded, a searing pain in her side, but her survival instinct took over. She crawled, she ran, she scrambled through the chaos, somehow escaping the tightening net. She didn't look back. She COULD in single quotes T. Days later. She found herself in a cramped, anonymous apartment on the far side of the city, a place she had kept as an emergency. Bolt hole. The news was grim. Roman's empire shattered. Many of their people dead or rested. The bear had won, consolidating his power. Anya survived. Yes, she had her freedom. For now. But it was a hollow victory. The furs and designer clothes were gone, traded for anonymity. The penthouse, the champagne, the thrill of power, all vanished like smoke in the Moscow chill. She was back in the cracks, but this time, the shadows were deeper. The cold, more biting dot, she sat by the window, watching the endless stream of gray cars, the indifferent faces of passers-by. The city hadn't changed. She had. The ambition that had once burned so brightly had been snuffed out, leaving only ashes and the bitter taste of loss. Her father's words echoed in her mind. In this city, Anya, you either take or you get taken. She had tried to take, and in the end, everything had been taken from her. The chill in her heart was a permanent resident, a mournful echo of a life that could have been. A life that had ended in a hail of bullets on a cold Moscow night.